I'm Don Williams, and today we'll be looking at a video I shot in 2010 at the Lynden Antique Tractor and Thrashing Bee in northern Washington. In fact, Lynden is about 10 miles from the Canadian border. We're at the Lynden Engine and Tractor Show, and they're getting a tractor lined up to give power to the thrashing machine right now. Side of a thrashing machine. Here we have a sack sewing machine. The wheat or oats or barley is dumped into these sacks, and then a fellow with a needle and thread sews up the top of the sack, and that's called a sack sewer. Side of the thrashing machine, you can see there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of belts. Here we have the grain wagon. The straw comes out one spout, and the grain is separated, of course, and it's put into this grain wagon. We've seen a couple of minutes ago sacks, and in the old days, the grain was sacked up and sewn at the machine. They actually have more machines lined up here this year than what I've seen in the past that are actually going to be operating. Normally they have 2 or 3, but it looks like they have about 6 with belts strung out now. Here's a shot of a second grain wagon. It's hooked up to a older thrashing machine. Now this is the second thrashing machine hooked up, and this is the one with the sacks on it. So I'm gonna try to get a few pictures of the grain going into sacks. that grain by the handful. It's really quite tasty. I think it's probably been 35 years since I've tasted grain straight out of the field. White is very unusual tractor for the Northwest, but there's two big ones here. Beautiful looking rigs. Here we're looking up toward the sawmill. You can see the smoke from the boiler that generates the steam for the sawmill in the distance. You can see they're lining up for the tractor parade and steam tractor parade. This is Alice Chalmers' year. Each year they recognize a different brand of tractor. They usually have that brand that being recognized for the year up on this display sign. Here we're looking about a block south of a few of the tractors left that aren't in line. Look to the north. This is saw off the head rig. New little house they built with just a few trinkets in it of the past, from the past. Butter churn and a press.
Whatever it is, it's quite a piece of work.
Side iron case with 3 side irons and a handle. One heated on top of the stove while the other one was being used to iron clothes. Well, Matt didn't have one of those. Matt had a whole collection of side irons. Well, that tricycle is earlier than the radio flyer wagon. This is just outside the little house. This is from the porch of the little guest house.